Today, we're diving into the ideas from Saifedean Ammous' The Bitcoin Standard. Now, this book makes a really bold claim that the kind of money we use doesn't just sit in our wallets, it actually shapes our entire civilization. How on earth could that be possible? Well, let's get into it. So, let's start with a famous story. Way back in 2010, a programmer bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 bitcoins. At the time, it was just a novelty. Today, that same amount would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. To understand that incredible, mind-boggling shift in value, we have to rewind and ask a really basic question. What even is money really? Alright, so what makes money money? According to the book, it's not just for buying stuff. No, its most important job, the very foundation of its existence, is to be a reliable store of value. In simple terms, it has to be a good way to save up for the future. So, what makes something a good store of value? Well, it needs to be durable, for sure, but the absolute key ingredient, the secret sauce, is scarcity. Think about it. If anyone can easily make more of something, its value is just bound to go down over time as more of it gets created. To really see this idea in action, we're going to take a little trip to the island of Yap. Their form of money was one of the strangest in history. Giant, heavy stones called rice stones. And as you can probably tell, this was definitely not pocket change. So the value of these giant stones didn't come from the limestone itself. It came from the absolutely insane amount of effort it took to create and transport them. You had to quarry a 4-ton disc, shape it, and then haul it across hundreds of miles of open ocean. That incredible difficulty, you could call it proof of work, is precisely what gave these stones their value. And here's the really wild part. The stones almost never moved. When someone wanted to pay with one, they just announced it publicly. The entire village basically acted as a shared memory, a public ledger, keeping track of who owned what. Now, remember that idea of a shared public record? It's gonna be important later. The system actually worked for centuries. But then, an outsider showed up with modern ships and tools. Suddenly, he could crank out new rice stones with ease, flooding the island's economy. The stones were no longer scarce, and just like that, their value collapsed. This story is a perfect little parable for the fundamental conflict in the history of money. And that brings us right to the book's central argument, this constant battle between what the author calls hard money and easy money. So what's the difference? Well, hard money, like gold, is tough to get out of the ground. Its supply grows really slowly and predictably, so it tends to hold its value. Easy money, on the other hand, can be created pretty much whenever someone wants. That makes it vulnerable to inflation and, like the people of Yap found out the hard way, total collapse. Now, the book argues this choice between hard and easy money actually messes with our psychology. It affects something called our time preference. Basically, it's about whether we're focused on today or planning for tomorrow. This whole idea of time preference was famously tested in a classic psychology experiment. Imagine you're a little kid and you're given this exact choice. What would you do? It turns out the kids who could delay gratification and wait for that second marshmallow, the ones with a lower time preference, they tended to have much better outcomes in life years later. So what does this have to do with money? Well, the book's argument is that hard money encourages us to save for the future, to wait for that second marshmallow. Easy money, because it loses value, pushes us to spend right now before our savings are worth less. Okay, so if our money influences us as individuals, what happens when an entire society's time preference starts to shift? Let's zoom out and look at what the book presents as a massive historical case study. The author points to the period from about 1870 to 1914, the era of the classical gold standard, as a perfect example of a society with a low time preference. This period was so amazing, it was actually known as La Belle Époque, the beautiful era. During this time, the world's financial system was based on gold. People had real confidence that their savings would actually be worth something in the future. And this encouraged long-term thinking, long-term investment. It led to this incredible explosion of innovation in science, art, technology, everything. You could travel the world with a single reliable form of money. But this beautiful era came to a screeching halt with the start of World War I. To pay for the immense cost of the war, governments did something drastic. They abandoned the gold standard and fired up the printing presses. This shift to easy money let them fund the conflict in a way that just would have been impossible if they had to ask their citizens to pay for it directly through taxes. Now, the book makes a really provocative argument here. It claims that a hard money standard, like gold, actually acts as a natural brake on a government's power, especially its power to wage war. The idea is that if governments couldn't just print money out of thin air, conflicts like World War I might have been forced to end much, much sooner. And the cost of this shift for regular people was just devastating. Take a look at this. The life savings of millions were completely wiped out by inflation. I mean, in some countries, people lost over half of their wealth. This wasn't a tax that people voted for, it was a hidden tax, a kind of silent theft, all made possible by easy money. So this whole historical journey from those giant stones on Yap to the catastrophic effects of leaving the gold standard, it all sets the stage for the modern era. It highlights this huge, centuries-old problem that Bitcoin was ultimately designed to solve. How do you create a type of money that's truly immune to this kind of manipulation and devaluation? In the book, Bitcoin is presented as the next step in the evolution of hard money, basically digital gold. It was specifically engineered to have all the best properties of gold, but for the internet age. It's durable, it's easy to divide, but its most revolutionary feature is how it handles scarcity. You see, unlike our money today, which is managed by central banks and governments, Bitcoin runs on a strict set of rules. And these rules are enforced by pure mathematics and a global network of computers. There's no CEO, no central bank president who can wake up one day and decide to change the rules or print more Bitcoins. It's all locked in by code. And this is the most important rule of all. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, period. This is a level of absolute, mathematically verifiable scarcity that has never existed before in any form of money. I mean, you can always technically mine more gold, but the supply of Bitcoin is absolutely finite. The real strength of this system comes from the fact that it's decentralized. The network is run by a global community of volunteers, which makes it incredibly resilient. There's no central headquarters to shut down, no single point of failure that can be attacked or corrupted. It just runs. So in the end, the Bitcoin standard suggests that this isn't just about a new piece of technology. It's a social innovation. It forces us to ask some really big questions about the very foundation of our economy and our society. The book leaves us with this powerful thought. If it's true that our money shapes our world, then what kind of world do we want to build? And what kind of money should we choose to build it with?